What's good, y'all? It's your boy Herb.
And it's your girl Mo.
And welcome to our soon-to-be world-renowned podcast, Young, Black, and Figuring It Out, Season 3. What up, doe?
What it do?
Probably whatever we tell it.
Always whatever we tell it.
Always whatever we tell it. You feel me? And we be telling it what we told it. How you feeling?
Great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling spectacular.
Ooh. Not amazing, but spectacular.
Yeah, I wanted to, one up.
I like that.
Yeah, let me get up in there. Spectacular.
I kind of love it. That was great.
Yeah?
Now I know for the next episode, I'm going to say something different.
You gonna bring another one? Okay, bad. It's gonna be All right, cool. Yo, how you feeling? Like we in it? We doing our thing? Season 3?
I'm really excited about this season 3. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's like yes.
It's been good. Yeah.
Who foresaw this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah, I did. That's like I did see this happening. Like we doing this, so it's been good.
I'm proud of us.
Good.
Yeah, it's good.
So today we have an amazing topic, I think. And it's gonna be we gonna touch on some stuff. We're gonna pull on some heartstrings,
Yeah.
And people just gotta be ready for that.
Lord.
You ready for that?
A little. Just a hit.
You getting there?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, to get us a warm up, how we usually do this, our layup lines, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
As we always do. What did we figure out this week?
I figured out
Start us off.
the subtle art of minding your business.
Not the subtle art.
That
was hilarious.
It's not always easy,
That was hilarious.
but it is necessary.
Yo, that was heat. Okay. Yes.
There's just some situations sometimes that pop up and we tend to insert ourselves in the mix, get all up into confusion and somehow propel the problem further.
Yes.
And it would have been better for you. You'd have been better off to have stayed in your lane and watched from afar or turn a blind eye because it had nothing to do with you. No one's hurting themselves. But instead, you got in there and hurt yourself. That's that's usually what happens. Is like it becomes a bigger issue, and you have now soured relationships or changed people's opinions of you because you put yourself here. It wasn't to the defense of a friend. It was, there was no like valiant effort happening. It was just like you couldn't mind your business.
Yeah.
And I have learned that it is best that I just stick within my lane and keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Have you seen that hurt people?
Yes, I have seen it play out.
How? In what ways?
Well, I've seen it, especially in like the workplace. I've seen it cause, I don't know, that kind of, now you have a taste in your mouth about that person. It's like, it's like, ugh. Like, who told them to involve themselves in this? Yeah. It's like, especially if you're just a regular human doing your job, you're not a supervisor, you're not a manager, you're not the boss. What are you doing getting in the boss's face about things? You know what I mean? Like, who invited you to the table because there was no seat for you? You know what I mean? Which is not a bad thing. It's just sometimes you got to know your place. It's like, this was not a situation that you should have involved yourself with.
I heard you. I heard that. That's good. And sometimes, too, you can, like, get into, like, somebody's in a tough situation, like they got a monkey on their back, and you go in there to help them, and it ends up on your back.
Yeah, and then there's more than just one all of a sudden.
It's like, the monkeys are multiplying. It's like, dang.
And it's like, I'm all for when there's an issue, there's a problem, and you are the person who has to speak up or solve it, go and do that. But when that is, it's so far from anything you have going on.
Yes.
It ain't got none. People didn't even ask you. You just said, let me do this. Like, I got this.
There's no reason for you to be here. There was no reason.
You ain't got no clout. You ain't got nothing to carry you into this space. Don't do it. Mind your business.
Something else I figured out, like when I really dive into it, because I think I figured out that too. Like that also was like, when you said it, I'm like, I also can relate, right? But I think one of the like not so subtle arts to success is actually caring less about what people think. Now, very high level cliche, right? But adjusting, not doing, or actually doing because of what people think is like it's killing many things like creativity, all of that, like encourage and confidence, and like limiting true, unique expression of your own self identity. And like, I was having a conversation with somebody like the other day because like I wasn't enjoying something they were doing. I'm like, yo, how come every time we do this, you got to do X, Y, and Z? And this is me not going into detail. Yes, you're not getting any more details than this. And it's like, I'm like, yo, because like my response was because of ABC. And
not a detail.
Yeah. And then really when we got down to it, when I was giving my answers, they were like, oh, that's because you care what people think. And I had no response. I'm like,
ooh.
You know how you stuck and you mad? You're like,
dang, you right.
Yeah, I'm like, get out of here with all that truth. You know what I'm saying? You tight. All that truth and honesty and stuff calling me out. But like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that is what it is. And if it wasn't that, I would not have the problem. Like, this problem is created. It's not even our problem.
Right.
It's a problem that I'm creating because of other folks.
Right.
It was like hitting my soul. Like, oh. And then I reevaluated, like, oh, you know what? This happens often without me even knowing it in certain ways. Like, oh no. And of course there's a fine line. Like, you know, you have to be able to, you know, present in a certain way in certain situations, but actually caring what people think, hindrance. Right. So like the power, like overcoming that is almost this freeing power. You know, there's really this freedom in like not actually caring.
I see that.
You're like, no, I'm going to rest and I'm going to like exist in my identity. Like, there's this resolve with that. That's
some
amazing.
Assurance, some confidence in exactly who I am, and this is what you get.
Yo.
If you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah, you do that well. I will say that. You do that well. And that's something that, like, if people watch and study, you know, things about you and want to adopt something, that's one thing that I would say for sure. Like, you actually, like, nah. Like, that's one of your favorite. That is a money mo maximum. Is nah, not happening. It's like, yeah, because like, no, this don't fit. This is not fit. This is not working for me. So it's over. And I appreciate that. It's like, yeah, that's like the Brooklyn in you. It's you as a person, but I noticed that with Brooklyn folks, y'all got that energy, you know?
Why, thank you. This is funny. Yeah. I'm like, I don't notice I do that. But you're not the first person to say that to me. And I'm like, I must do that often. And people generally respect it, which I appreciate. Yeah. Consistency, y'all.
It's like, nah, this is, and that comes from like either knowing who you are, like knowing, like developing that. And even if you don't, because we always are growing in our identity, but you know who you're not.
Right.
It's like, nope, ain't happening, y'all.
And that right there.
It's like, nah, y'all.
I appreciate you knowing this about me. Yes, thank you.
It's like, it's over.
Wow.
Yeah, nah, so for sure. I've realized, like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to rest in that. Like, and I've been working on that. Like, really rediscovering my identity and having my identity be my identity. Right. Like, nah, it's over.
I support this.
Just the clothes I'm going to wear? Cool. Y'all don't like it? I'm rocking it. Yeah.
And
you pay for it then. You know what I'm saying? Bet. Okay. If not, cool. Yeah, for sure.
I like this. Yes. Works for you.
Appreciate that. Made you proud.
I really am. I was like, I'm clearly rubbing off on him. Yeah. You hear that? No one else saw that.
Clearly rubbing off. She trying. Look at her trying to steal some clout, some credit.
Give me my props.
You have them. I knight thee.
I'd have taken the flowers, but thank you.
You want the flowers? Okay, wait. Fine. All right, bet. Yo, okay. You ready to dive into this?
I surely am now.
Yeah, let's do this. So, you know, this next one is really about a topic that people have talked about us. Like, why y'all always talking about stuff like this and y'all qualified to talk about this? Yeah. We are. Yeah.
We're humans existing.
Yeah. Yes, so we're going to keep talking about it. Yeah, so this next one exists in the relationship dating space. And the topic is, are there any good ones left? Ooh, we about to get some heat for this. Yeah.
I recall saying this a few years ago. I mean, many years ago, early on in our friendship.
What'd you say?
I had said, why ain't there no good ones left? And when I tell you how mad this man was at me, and I've never been more confused. Yeah. Like, why are you upset? What's the problem? In my mind, I'm like, what does this guy do with you?
You like, there's no good men out there. It's like, ooh. I'm like, let me double check. I'm a man.
And at the time, I stood heavily on that. I don't recall like backtracking too quickly.
I don't remember the interaction. I just remember being tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was upset.
Yeah. And he had to explain, it's like, you definitely locked me in there. I was like, did I? Because I was talking about those that were available to me.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking. I was like, who's thinking about you?
Yeah. You know, it's like, okay, what I was looking at is, yes, I could have interpreted that, but here are the words that were said.
Yes.
And, you know,
You were right. You had, we got through it. I definitely was like, my bad. And then I think I altered how I stated it. And you were like, okay.
yeah, like, man, that works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. You know what we should do? I love that we always do to set the platform. Is like, how do we define good ones? Yeah, like,
what does good really mean, right?
yeah, you know, like, what does that mean? Like, how do we define that to us?
Yeah.
And how is it commonly defined? Could be things we dive into.
I think it's definitely more personal than people like to admit, and they generalize a lot. But for the most part, it's pretty personal because what one woman will accept, another won't. You know what I mean? I think good, if we're talking about good in relation to a partner, it's always integrity. It's like honest, one you can trust their word. I feel like that just goes such a long way. If you said it, you mean it, and you can prove it. Like, if you said it, someone can prove, like, oh yeah, back that up. That's completely true. I think you don't see that as often. I think people kind of pretend more. So a good man for me would be one who's honest and holds his integrity and his word, high.
Yeah.
I think that's the bulk of it. I think most things can fall under that.
Yeah.
After that.
Can I add one that you might also want based on me knowing you?
That may have changed as I'm always evolving. Yes, go.
I think presence is important for you.
I don't know if that makes them good. That's just a good fit for me.
Right. That's what I was getting at. It's like, for you.
Yes. But yeah. I can't run from it. Presence is so important.
It's like, it's almost like, because it won't work if not for you. It's like, nah, no, thank you.
Yeah, because I clearly take up space, and I like to believe that the space I take up is positive, and it kind of reverberates out. Like, you feel it, you notice, you welcome it even. If you're just there, but no one knows, like, you can't feel it, you can't sense it. I am by myself. What's the purpose? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Who invited you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that. Okay. And I think that's right on point, integrity. And I think when people think of, like, from a man's perspective, like, you're looking for another partner that has, like, masculine energy, or a man partner, I would say people are looking for, like, those type of qualities, like integrity, someone who's, like, driven, are the words people probably use. People will use presence,
right?
Provider, protect, all those things will fall into, like, a good man.
Yeah.
So for
safety.
me,
Sorry.
Oh, safety, for sure. Like, do I feel safe? Yeah. And a lot of that, it is based on person. If it's physical safety, emotional safety, mental safety, spiritual safety, and I think people put different levels of care or value on those differently. Like, someone, a lot of the times, might not really care about their emotional safety, which I think that's not a good trait. As long as they're physically and financially safe.
Right, which I know we've talked about last season. That's just not something anyone promotes or discusses.
Right.
But once you're in it, you realize you need it.
It's probably the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I heard that. That's dope.
Fair. Continue. Yes, I was listening.
What was I saying? What about me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do mine, and then we'll dive into, like, what I think generally people will say about women. Like, what's a good and this goes to value. And this once again goes into, like, the overarching, like, what we've taught in society around, like, patriarchy. So it's funny. The first thing that came to my mind for a female partner that makes them good was, like, loyalty. What do I equate loyalty to? Not cheating. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that crazy?
I mean, it's fitting, but yeah, not crazy.
It's like,
and
wow.
I knew you were gonna say loyalty. I was like, of course, this man's gonna be like loyal.
Yo, I want to, like, and so I got to unpack that. I think what I need with the loyalty. So, like, beyond not cheating, because that sounds so basic. I don't really want to go there.
Yeah.
So let me go backwards. but knowing that that was my true inner thought, that was a raw moment for the audience. Like that was truth. So when I go backwards and like really unpack that, like the loyalty for me is me. I need to know like we are committed to whatever it is we decide to be committed to together.
Right.
And I'm going to know that even when it doesn't always follow through that way. So if someone's honest about that, like, yeah, here's where I am. It's like, that's what loyalty looks like to me. It's like, hey, I'm going to be committed. We are on the same team. Behind the scenes, we might disagree. When we walk out of that room,
Right.
we are on the same page to the world. And that's really what I need, right? And so I think that's what a lot of my first reaction is what a lot of men would say, right? And that goes to the patriarchy and men seeing women as possessions, and we have to work through that.
Right.
Right. Okay. Next part that I would say good is probably for me, like I need like a strong support system. What I mean by that is a lot of the times I can be so in the vision, so in the future, so in the whatever, that all these other things with the details, like, yo, what happened to that? You know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As you know, it's
Yes.
like, yo, what's happening? Like, okay, cool. Yes. We are about to take a trip around the world. All right, cool. Did we get the plane tickets? Did we got the gas? Did we got all this? Did we checking on this? What about the hotels? Did you see?
Is your passport up to date?
Yeah, I was like,
Do
damn.
you have your passport?
Yo, did I even bring the passport, y'all?
Yeah.
Because in my mind, sometimes I'm already there. So it's like, yeah, that's going to be huge. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Like, that's good to me. Like that.
Yeah. I like how you use those words, but I'm like, it's the first one sounded like safety in the sense of you're honest and sharing things and you trust that she's not going to throw them back in your face, expose them to the world, or sell you down the river.
Yeah.
And then the second one sounds like actual partnership, not just like support, because there are going to be a bunch of things that you need her to handle because you got other things to handle. It's like, yeah, I get that.
100%. That's good. And it's like in that first one too, it's like, yeah, I'm putting trust. That's not easy for me to do.
Right.
Especially in this realm. Right.
Which, a lot of men have stated.
Yeah.
And that is a fear. Like, I'm not opening up because I don't trust that you won't use this against me somehow.
Don't break that. You know what I mean?
Hear that.
Or abuse that. It's like, you make yourself vulnerable in a relationship. Especially the way we, especially as black men, have been taught and then have carried out how we define relationships and how those work.
Right.
It's vulnerable. And it's like, as we try to work through that and unpack and work through the generational trauma, don't break that. Just tell me you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't break the trust though.
Right.
That's gonna set it up for the next person.
Right.
Yeah, cool. So that, and then say, what else is good? I mean, a lot of those, like, that's good, like those gonna be things that are good for me. And then I want to be able to be inspired by the person, and they don't even have to necessarily be like Fortune 500. I just need to be motivated.
Right.
So that's good for me.
Right. Is that meaning like that doesn't mean they have to necessarily work some amazing job that is so fulfilling to them as much as they're encouraging you?
Nah, I mean, like, so encouraging me is great. I think that should be a default part of partnership, but it should be spoken out loud. So I'm glad you said that. But almost in a way like 1 + 1 = 3, right? Like, we've talked about that. So like, I'm a whole, you're a whole person, and like us two create this third energy that moves us forward. This partnership, right? 1 + 1 = 3. It can't really equal 3 if your primary focus is me. I want you to be committed to whatever. It could be like, I'm just doing pottery, or I'm just doing photography, or I'm just doing whatever.
Where did pottery come from? But yes,
like,
I hear you.
Yeah, it's like, yo, and I'm committed to this, and I'm locked in on this, and like, yeah, I'm also committed to our relationship, but I'm committed to something.
Right.
Committed. Like,
Right.
this is my path. I'm committed. Cool.
You as a human should be more than your partner. Yeah.
Yo,
Like,
come on now.
You're not just in a partnership. You are a person.
You
as well.
are and I value that.
I
That's
love
how
that.
I operate. So I
Yeah.
need that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the world. So going back to what the world wants, the loyalty part, the supportive or partnership part, and then lastly, I think people would probably say like, they wouldn't say that what I just said. They probably, if it's men talking about the typical nuclear family, men would be like, I want somebody who's just. They wouldn't say this, but they would operate this way a lot of the times. I really want somebody who's like going to follow direction. Like that's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, that's not gonna work, especially now.
When it worked for a lot of people, it's like, you can't just tell anybody what to do.
Mm-hmm. When we talked about a couple of seasons ago, we talked about submit, and you was like, "What am I going? You can't submit to foolishness." Yeah, for sure. And people say they want somebody to submit, but just like,
I have no problem following the leader, but the leader has to have an actual vision. That's going somewhere.
Yeah, like, no leaders off a cliff.
You just told me what to do. What's the reason? I'm not just gonna do anything blindly. Especially if there's not that trust isn't built there. You haven't proven with any sort of presence or you know, like no loyalty. Like nah. Yeah. I hear that.
Yeah, no, it's over.
But you're right. I agree. I think there are men who won't say it, but listen to me.
That's what you really want.
I'm the king, and when I want my space, I take my space. But you must be loyal to me and only me, and have nothing else going on, really.
Yeah. I've even seen that in dating where people are like, yo, I don't want you, but I don't want anybody else to have you.
Yes.
Wow. Going back to men seeing women as possessions.
Yes.
Nah, you can't play with my toys, bro. Yeah.
Ooh.
Crazy, right?
In common. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem, for sure. And I'm out here, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I don't like
it.
And
I've fallen into that. So this is not me criticizing men. This is me criticizing us. Yes. Like, you know?
Which I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, for sure. I might as well. The truth. Question. So for what we just described as good, are there good ones left out there, yo? Ooh, put you on the spot, gang.
You know what? I know that the answer has to be yes, but where? Where they at though? Because
you funny.
I haven't met too many. You know, it's just like, and then I will say some women's definition is a little different.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know some great humans who are married or in a relationship, and sometimes you hear some stories, and I'm like, this is good to you. I would not. That's unacceptable to me.
Yeah.
But okay, you know, you take what you want and you live with it. That is fine. But I honestly, I don't know where they at. Where we going? Where we trying to?
Where they at though?
Yeah. Anybody want to tell me? No?
Yeah. So you saying yes?
Yes, they have to exist. They must.
They must. There's no other alternative. But yes,
this is me keeping hope alive. Like they are somewhere. Yes.
But
where?
Okay. Yeah. You know what? Okay. That's what's up. Do you want me to ask you another question, or want me to give you my answer first?
You give me an answer first, because I'm afraid of the next question.
Okay, but that's funny.
I'll never know. You gotta see it in his eyes, though.
It's like, oh, he up to something.
He coming up with something.
No. So yeah, I would say same thing. Yes, and I bumped in So you know what we're good at? We're not gonna get all personal with our personal lives. But y'all, you gotta hit the Patreon for that. But so yeah, if people want to know more, we know more. So I bumped into an experience and have been in partnership with folks like that. Are they frequent? Not at all. So my answer is similar to yours. Yes, but where? Or where else? Because we've seen them in some places, but where else though? It's not frequent.
It's the else for me.
Yeah. And why do we think that is? Like, why?
I don't know if we're particular. And I also don't know if it's based off of us being transplants, right? Like, you are a lot of where you're from and where you've grown up. Yeah. And so what you've seen is what you kind of expect or want. Yeah. And because we're not from here, what we've delved as, oh yeah, that's good, we don't necessarily see. It's a different culture. It's a different place. Like, that could be it. I don't know. What do you think?
I think so. All that's 100% right. And then I also think that culturally, like I think multiple things have happened. So this can really go so deep. We might as well. So
like dive in.
Might as well, yo. You know I can't swim though, so it's like, dang. I'm gonna go in there.
So we both drowning at this point.
Facts. So I think what happened is, I'm gonna be honest, I actually think it probably was like this for a long time. Right? So it's not like all the good ones are gone and there used to be more good ones. I think that what happened was people were forced into a mode in the past. They had to be this way. People were forced to stay with people. They had to, because that's just what it was. And then people also did not share the same way in terms of how things went, and didn't have all of the platforms to share how things weren't working out. So I think what's happening is like a peeling back the onion of truth. Like the falsity of what was happening is not there as much. So it's like, it's been like this. Like I know of relationships of folks who were like in other generations. It's like, dang, that would have been a quick divorce now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, people were suffering.
That is a great point. It's like, okay, so back then women had less rights and had to depend more on men.
That's the other yes.
And then
keep going. This is good. Keep going.
Because the society viewed it as they had to stay home with the kids as well. So the guys, because patriarchy, could be out here cheating, drinking, abusive. It didn't matter. They provided. And that was safety. You needed the provision no matter what, because outside of that, you were just not even worth society, right? So it wasn't the necessary happy marriages, but they were long lasting because you didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some people like, our grandparents, our great grandparents married for 55. What choice?
Yeah.
I get that. And there were those rare ones, like they loved each other. You could see it.
For sure.
But honestly, how many of us can like go through the lineage, even aunts and uncles and up?
And find out.
I ain't about to put my family out there.
But it's like, yeah, people was married for 30, 40 years and this, that, and the third. It's like, yeah, but that was unhappy.
Yes.
That was a bad marriage, bro. It's like, yeah, would you want to hang your hat on that?
Some people say bad marriage for life.
Yo, but no, legit though.
Yeah.
That is a shot because I love Will Smith, so she want to shot at Will and Jada.
And he is a stan.
I'm not a stan, though, y'all. I'm not a stan. I appreciate excellence and greatness and wisdom, and commitment and dedication. No, he stop playing. But he is a stan. But nah, yeah. Even with that, going back to the women, like your status was so attached to that. And so yeah, like now. That as we develop and progress further and women have more options and more access, right? They realize, oh no, I don't have to be subject to whatever the way I feel like it should be, right? Like we cannot as a culture, you cannot be successful, you cannot grow, you cannot flourish into the highest level if you are systemically oppressing any group of people.
True.
And we were doing that.
True.
That's just the truth.
What's interesting is like the standard for women has risen, right? Like women raise the bar of the women to grow and get these things for themselves. Yeah. But the standard of men has not changed, nor has it needed to, except for it needs to.
And that's exactly. When you're in a place of privilege, you don't have to change, right? Because it's set up for you to win.
Which now you say is like, oh, of course, it has been all along like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so the reality is like, are there any good ones left? It's like, it's probably the same amount. It's just the definition of good has changed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we understand what good really is. And for men, it's like, we might say, it's not good ones left, but that's because, before, like, you had options of people who are going to be subject to you. Now they like, nah, I'm not putting up with anything. And so you might be like, if you're not a confident, like, understanding, secure man, you can be like, nah, I don't want anybody who's, building their own brand. I don't want anybody who has opinions. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. So it's not gonna be any good ones left. It's like, nah, they're not the problem. Just change your definition, bro.
Yes.
Like, be secure.
You say that, and I'm like, okay, I get why the dating pool has been difficult. Some men just don't want no parts. And I'm like, what? We've only had conversations. What's the problem?
Yeah.
I'm a little too honest, apparently. I will stand my ground on what I say, and not even in a combative way. Most of the time, it's just like, no, I don't agree.
I got my own opinions, bro.
That's just not gonna change. And they will try to fight it or force it or like push and get really in their feelings about it, which I'm like, you are completely okay to feel how you feel, but I'm not changing how I feel.
That's
I'm
just
sorry.
what it is.
And then he's like, oh, I
Yeah.
never heard from them again. All right.
Yeah, nah, and that's what's up. So it's like what's really happening is about it, are there good ones left? It's like I think what's really happening in that space is there's a filtering, and now it's like actually what's actually good is becoming more visible. Like, oh, okay. Before I might have thought this was good, so we thought it was like 60% good, and when you really scrub through and did the background check, it's like, oh no, it really was only like 25% to begin with.
Yeah.
So the number is the same. We're just becoming more clear. We're less delusioned.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of women are less likely to just settle because of that grown confidence now and how they view themselves and what they actually want. And so it's like, no. And you know, the worst part is older generations will encourage or push. Like he has money. He's a good man. But now they're like, I know better for what I want. And they're not getting stuck anymore. Like people aren't, like we said this a few seasons ago, they're not getting married young like they used to. There's like goals being reached. I don't know. Why are you guys slacking so heavily?
I don't think we actually slacking. I think it was what was being taught and pushed. And I also think, if I'm being honest, like we haven't necessarily been like, we haven't had or needed to change or develop in that way.
Even as women are changing so heavily.
Yeah, we haven't had to. It's like, oh, we good. Because especially, let me not even go there. But yeah, for men, we don't. Yeah, we need that. Yeah, I was just about to. I was like, let me not take it there.
I want to know
But
now.
now you want to know. I got you off camera. But so the other thing too, though, is like, I think in this new era, I do think like where like the good ones left piece and like what could be done is, I don't think, tell me if I'm wrong, I don't know if, because they haven't necessarily had to, if women do a good job partnering with men, right? I don't think that has been something that has been pushed to like a partnership. What I think happens is it's like either A or B. There's either B, which is what we were taught, like the traditional, here are the gender roles.
Yes.
This is what you fall into. Or A, this is kind of like the new era of independence, which is also good, right?
Right.
There's a middle ground that says this is how we actually partner, right, and work together. I do not think that is actually reinforced in the space. I think the work, and it might be rightfully so, of doing that is heavily placed on us as men. Let's get spicy.
I mean,
Hey, this is good. Hey, come on, yo. Yeah, let's work through this.
I mean, are men actually creating space for women to partner with them? You know what I mean? Like, is that actually acceptable or welcomed? I don't believe so. I think a lot of that sexism and condescending kind of discussion and behaviors come out a lot, especially when men feel threatened by a woman in a space that's like, oh, this is too close to equal. You know what I mean? I think that happens a lot. And then I also think there's no model for equal partnership for a man and a woman. So most people don't really know how it should look. Sometimes you almost feel like you have to overexert power in order to get your voice heard.
Yeah.
And that can come off like, oh, she thinks she's big and bad and da-da-da. And then if a man says anything bad, it just becomes more volatile than it should. I don't know if what you're saying, that other option of true partnership, is something anyone can really envision, because you don't see it. Like, what does that look like?
You asked me what it looks like?
Yeah, because I'm like, I was so interested. You said that. I was like, what is that?
I honestly think the ability to come together, and it's going to look different in every relationship, right? But I think the partnership piece is actually defining, like, that's the thing, like actually defining how that looks in your relationship, right? I don't think, again, whether it be a response to the years of oppression in that culture, whether it's a response to like, nah, like I've fought for this independence and like now you got to adjust, right? Or it's a resting in the traditions. I don't think the work to actually partner through is happening now. That's easy for me to say as a place of privilege and a man who, like, I haven't had to worry about that. Like, it's expected for me to set the rules and standards and whatnot, right? So I get that.
Right.
But I do think the partnership piece, like the give and take, is going to be, now as we transcend into this new era, like there's going to have, I think, we're going to have to ask for patience and like, all right, let's work on this partnership, because that's not what we've been taught to do. But B, there's going to have to be effort to do that.
True.
You know?
True. I mean, yes.
Go ahead, hit me with it. Go for it.
I don't know. I feel like communicating to get there, that will be the work. Like, this sounds lovely, but a lot of times we as people aren't great at articulating what we're trying to say based off how we feel. We just throw out feelings, and I think that gets in the way a lot of times. Like, then there's arguments, then there's hurt feelings and all kinds of problems, because no one can really sit down and be like, okay, I want to partner with you, and I want to work through what that may look like. You know what I mean? And there'll be give and take. You know, there'll be some compromise, because some people aren't always comfortable in certain spaces, or some people need certain things that the other person has never thought they were able to give. But I think the expression of that and trying to figure that out takes way more work than I think most people want to put in.
Yeah, I agree. That's a commitment. Okay, I hear that. Any other reasons you think, like, that you would dive into, like, why or why not there's good ones or not good ones available in the pool right now?
Why not?
I kind of think expectations. I think media, whether it be social, TV, anything.
Reality.
Yeah, I think it has created false expectations.
True.
Of like what to expect. And, you know, I think there's this like spectacular fantasy of what a relationship is supposed to look like. And for me, it's like, yeah, nah. It's like, no, it's not going to work that way. So
it's so disappointing if you continue to think like that. Like,
yeah,
all of the Disney and all the rom-coms, all the Hallmark Channel, none of that is reality. And like, there are sometimes people do bigger gestures or like profess their love in different ways. But like the day-to-day, the regular schmegler, when you're not, you know, face full of makeup or your hair's not done or whatever the case may be.
I know he was cool.
Be quiet. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like, or it's one of those lazy Saturdays and, you know, no one took a shower. It's just regular life.
Yeah.
You're not going to have these butterflies or whatever kind of feelings. Like, those don't really exist. And so someone actually recently just hit me and was like, yo, how would you determine this conversation? Showed me a whole screenshot or whatever. And the person just wanted to know, do you love me? And he loves her, but the way he said it was like, I love you because I choose to. Not romantic, not cutesy, does not make your heart feel warm. But is it true? Is it honest?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, what he's saying makes perfect sense. And sometimes it's almost like, is that what she needed? Or is that what is true? You know what I mean? It's like, in that moment, she probably needed the cutesy thing. But it's like, honestly, that's just not reality.
Yeah.
You know, you can be it, but it won't last that long, because it's just not how that's not how we operate.
Yeah. I do feel you. And that is actually like, and that's what I get to, like, as far as it being good ones left. A good one to me is like someone who recognizes that. It's like, yeah, you know, all the stuff that we see that creates these grand gestures of, you know, these grand romantic gestures or these grand gestures in general. Like, yeah, like that's probably the 10% of relationship that people display, because it's like the exciting 10%, but it's not actually, that's not what it is. It's this commitment. And somebody who gets that will be, for me, like, that's a good one. So like, if you take out the pool of people who fall into traditions, if you take out the pool of people who looking for like that high level of, you know, because me personally, like, yeah, I'll do those things, but if you expect that all the time, listen, you might as well go ahead and be hurt now. Get all of the hurt out the way, and then we'll get there, because it's not happening. Because that's just not, for me, that's just not practical.
It's not practical.
It's like, nah, it's not financially practical. Anybody got time for that? How we gonna be building if every day we going to Paris?
Yeah.
Nah, it's no time for that.
Yeah.
No, like, nah. And if people even ask me for that, I get turned off from that. It's like, oh no, it's over. This can't happen. So for me, like, yeah, if you think about good ones, someone who recognizes that, like, that's.
Which is crazy. I think we miss those small things that someone does do daily.
Yeah.
You know, to show their care or effort or love towards you. that most people aren't thinking about because they're looking for the big, expecting like the Disneyland, when really it's like, oh, they wash the dishes and they make sure, like, no matter what, the dishes are always taken care. Yo, you know how much that would mean?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's just certain
you gonna
things
cut that grass?
where it's like, I don't have to do it after having to do everything. Thank you. It's always like
you a good one.
Literally, like those certain like it's consistency.
Yeah. So what to leave people with, as people search the pool and kind of probably get like, there's a lot going on. We are inundated all the time with like different, like so many different perspectives and thoughts and all that. How can people start to find a good one?
I mean, I don't like tests. I think when you are purposely setting someone up to see if they fail is a waste of time. But being, I guess, cognizant of what is being said, and as long as it's lining up with actions, you probably got a good one right there. Like someone who is showing you, because men typically show. They don't always state. And I wish they would, because I'm a word person. Please tell me how you feel and let it be true. But like, if they are consistently showing you that they care about you, like they remember you told them some random story, they check in, just those little things, you probably got a good one. And then for me personally, like, they have a presence. I recognize that they
but they here, they in the room, then bet. I love that.
What about for you? What would you say?
Defining what a good one means to you first. I think that's a good first step. Like, what does this mean? And it should be a little more broad, right? Because you don't want to put yourself in this narrow box and set yourself up for failure, right? But define it. Like, here's some things that I really want, right? Define what a good one looks like. And then put yourself in the spaces, right? Like, if you define a good one, and it's like, if your definition of a good one is X, but you are always in Y space, you're never going to catch them, right? That's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? So if you have a good one that's like a Christian, God-fearing man, but you are never in those spaces, like, oh, it's over. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't go to church. I just be looking for this Christian man to walk upon me.
It's over. You know what I'm saying? Or or if your definition is like, I really want somebody who's like athletic and commits to like their physical goals, and it's like, oh, that's a good one.
So
like,
you're never in the gym.
Or you're not doing it. It's over. It's like, how in the world? So define that, put yourself in the places, and like, be open and receptive to that. So yeah.
Nice.
For that.
Yeah.
Another thing.
Don't you even try it.
You already know.
I see it coming. Like, you ended it right there.
Yeah, for season 3, she gonna be caught on, y'all. Listen, people might be listening to us like, man, what in the world are they talking about? I would say we might be right.
We might be wrong.
But at the end of the day, we just young, black, and figured it out. Tough.
CC on the track, boy.